السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على من بعثه الله رحمة للعالمين وقدوة للعاملين وحجة للسالكين، وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. بعثه الله بالإيمان ناديا وإلى دار السلام داعيا. إخوة الإيمان, we are continuing with our lecture series regarding the signs of the Day of Judgment. Sign number 49 from the signs of the Day of Judgment. Ikhwani fillah, on the Day of Judgment, many strange things are going to occur. All of us shall be present on that day. That is equivalent to 50,000 years. A day that is equal to 50,000 years. Everyone shall be held to account by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You shall be asked about everything that you did in this dunya. However, the hisab of the believers shall be easy. But for the disbelievers and the evil people, they will start arguing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They'll start debating, oh Allah, I did not do this. I did not do this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, حَتَّى إِذَا مَا جَاءُوهَا شَهِدَ عَلَيْهِمْ سَمْعُهُمْ وَأَبْصَارُهُمْ وَجُلُودُهُم بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ لِمَ شَهِدتُّمْ عَلَيْنَا قَالُوا أَنْطَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْطَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ خَلَقَكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. This is from the interesting things that happen on the day of Qiyamah. A person comes and he wants to talk. اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون. On that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the people, their mouth will not be able to speak. Then Allah asks a question. The skin, the eyes, the ears, the hands, the legs, the body parts, they witness, oh Allah, he did this and this. So this man, he gets angry. He's wondering, what's wrong with my body? He starts an interesting debate. He starts debating with his own body. وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ, and he speaks to his skin. لِمَا شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا, why are we witnessing against me? Why? I am arguing for your sake. If I'm thrown in the hellfire, you are going to be burnt. And this skin is going to be tanned every time. After it's burnt, you're given a new skin. I'm arguing on your behalf. وقالوا لجلودهم لما شهدتم علينا قالوا أنطقنا الله الذي أنطق كل شيء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me speech like he gave other of the creation speech. Ikhwani fillah, this is on the Day of Judgment. But just close to it, a sign will appear where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall give speech to animals and things that have no life. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says in authentic hadith, he says that a man was looking after his sheep at the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Then a wolf came and stole one of the sheep. It took one of the sheep. The shepherd runs after that wolf and takes from it the sheep that the wolf had taken from the shepherd. So the wolf goes up on a hill. It sits down, tucks its tail between its backside, and he says to the shepherd, Hadith al-Sahih, the wolf speaks to the shepherd, he says, عَمِدْتَ إِلَى رِزْقٍ رَزَقَنِي اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلْ انْتَزَعْتَهُ مِنِّي. You have taken something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me as rizq. You have taken it from me. فَقَالَ الرَّجُلُ, the man will say, تَاللَّهِ إِنْ رَأَيْتُكَ الْيَوْمِ ذِئْبٌ يَتَكَلَّمُ. Wallahi, it's very surprising. Today I'm seeing a wolf speaking. I'm seeing a wild animal speaking. فَقَالَ الذِّئْبُ, the wolf says to the man, أَعْجَبُ مِنْ هَذَا, what is more surprising than this? رَجُلٌ فِي النَّخَلَاتِ بَيْنَ حَرَّتَيْنِ يُخْبِرُكُمْ بِمَا مَضَى وَبِمَا هُوَ كَائِنُ بَعْدَكُمْ. What is more surprising is not me speaking. What is more surprising is a man in the city of Medina, between the Harra al-Sharqiyya and the Harra al-Gharbiyya. يُخْبِرُكُمْ بِمَا مَضَى. He's telling you of things that have passed and things that are going to come. كان رجل يهوديا, and this man was a Yahudi. فجاء رجل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He came to the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام وأخبره, and he said to him, I saw a wolf speaking to me, and this wolf told me that there's a prophet who's going to come from the city of Medina. فصدقه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he believed him. ثم قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, then the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he says, إن أمارة من أمارات الساعة. That is one of the signs of the day of judgment. قال إن بين يديه الساعة يوشك الرجل أن يخرج فلا يرجع حتى تحدث نعلاه وصوته ما أحدث أهله بعده. He says, a man will leave his house. As he's coming back, his cane, he's walking the cane. The cane tells him, someone visited your house today. Someone was talking to your wife. His shoelaces also speak to him. Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he says, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يكلم السباع الإنس. The hour will not come until the wild animals shall speak to the human beings. ويكلم الرجل عذبة صوته. And a man will be having a conversation with his walking stick. وشراك نعلي. And his shoelaces. ويخبر فخذه. And his thighs are telling him that your wife has done this and this after you. So from the signs of the judgment is wild animals will speak. And other things that are lifeless will also speak. Someone might say, Sheikh, this one, we have seen it in our times. It is the mobile phone. It's the mobile phone. You can talk. Your family is far away and you can speak with your mobile phone. I read a few days ago, Bill Gates was saying, the head of Microsoft, he says, smartphones are going to end. And people are going to have stickers or tattoos on the body. So you talk to your skin and the other person listens. This is not what is meant by the hadith. From the signs of the day of judgment, amazing things that are not expected shall occur. And from the amazing things is an animal will speak. There's no way you can say an animal speaking is a mobile phone or an iPad. There's no way. Your skin, your thighs, the stick you're walking with, and the shoelaces shall speak to you. So this is sign number 49. كلام السباع والجمادات للإنس. The wild animals and the lifeless objects shall speak to the human beings. Number 50. People shall wish to die because of the fitna, of the trials, of the imtihan that they see in their lives. تقوم الساعة حتى يمر الرجل بقبر رجل فيقول يا ليتني مكانه. The hour will not come until a man will go to the graveyard and he says, I wish I was the one in that grave. I wish I was the one in that grave. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ. The one whose soul is, I swear by Allah, the one who is owning my soul. لَا تَذْهَبُ الدُّنْيَا حَتَّى يَمُرَّ الرَّجُلُ عَلَى قَبْرِ. The earth will not end until a man will pass a grave. فَيَتَمَرَّغَ عَلَيْهِ. He will roll on that grave. فَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي. He says, I wish كُنْتُ مَكَانَ صَاحِبَ هَذَا الْقَبْرِ. I wish I was in the place of this dead person. وَلَيْسَ بِهِ الدِّينِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاءِ. And he has no religion except imtihan and Point number 1. Muslim, man or woman, to wish for death because of what is going on in their life. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take your life because you're going through some difficulties. Your business has gone down, or you're divorced, or people, or you're going under depression. You shall never, as a Muslim, true Muslim, wish for death. And if you want to say a dua, you should always say the dua, Allahumma hini ma kanat hayatu khayran li, wa tawaffani idha kanat wafa khayran li. Oh Allah, if life is good for me, then let me live. But if you see death better for me, then take me away in a state that you're pleased with me. Ikhwani fillah, there are two men at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this is a hadith that you shall hear a lot with the month of Ramadan coming up. These two brothers, they loved each other. They became Muslim at the same time. They performed hijrah together. Ibadah, they were the same. Then they went for jihad. And one of them, he died as a shaheed. He died as a martyr. And his brother lived for 1 more year. Then thereafter he died. Talha ibn Ubaidillah, radiallahu anhu, he sees a dream. He sees these 2 men. But the one who died second, he died in his bed, entered Jannah first, before the one who died as a shaheed. So he's wondering, what is this? He goes to the Prophet ﷺ and tells him, I saw such and such a dream. Those 2 brothers, the one who died second, in his bed, he did not die as a shaheed. Entered Jannah first, before the brother who died as a shaheed. How come? Prophet ﷺ, he says to him, did this man not have an extra Ramadan? Did he not reach the month of Ramadan and fast Ramadan? Did he not pray such and such a number of extra salahs compared to his brother? That is why the levels are different. The Prophet ﷺ was asked, أَيُّ النَّاسِ خَيْرٍ? Who are the best of people? مَنْ طَالَ عُمْرُهُ وَحَسُنَ عَمَلُهُ. The one whose life is extended. He has a long life, وَحَسُنَ عَمَلُهُ, and his deeds are good. If you are a person who is doing good, perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more of your age, more life in this world, so increase in the good. And if you're a person who is doing wrong, perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall give you a longer age for you to make up for the mistakes you did and for tawbah that you did. And you do tawbah. An old man was asked, don't you wish to die? He says, Wallah, I do not wish to die. I do not even wish to be a young man. I am okay as an old man. For every time I sit, I say Alhamdulillah. Every time I stand, I eat, I say Bismillah. And I do not miss the prayer in the mosque. So, Ikhwani fillah, we as Muslims should never, ever, ever wish for death. Situations that you are allowed to ask for death. For example, Maryam alayhi salam, she says in the Quran, يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا. I wish I died before this day. People are going to say bad things about me. I am a woman who has no husband, yet I am pregnant, yet I am giving birth to a child. I wish I died before this day of fitna came to me. So she asked for death because she was afraid of her honor. She was afraid of people talking about her in a bad way. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her a miracle. Her child Isa alayhi salam, who was born, started speaking when he was a child. And he defended the mother. قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي. Isa alayhi salam started speaking from the day he came out of the stomach. As an infant, he started speaking and defended the mother. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says in his dua, وَإِذَا أَرَدْتَ بِعِبَادِكَ فِتْنَةً فَاقْبِضْنِي إِلَيْكَ غَيْرَ مَفْتُونٍ. Oh Allah, if you want to try your servants, take me away so that I am not the ones who are falling into fitna. The Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون. This dunya is not created for this dunya. هذه الدنيا سميت dunya لدناءتها. This dunya is called dunya because it's worthless. Dunya in the Arabic language means dani, worthless. It has no value. You do not own this dunya. I do not own this dunya. The one who owns it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Gives it no value. He says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it was worth, it's not even worth the wing of a mosquito. So the one who created this dunya and owns this dunya gives it no value, yet you give it value. And ikhwani fillah, what are you sure is after death? هل أنت متأكد that أنت من أصحاب الجنة? Are you sure that you are from amongst the people of Jannah? Abu Dhar al-Ghifari, Sufyan al-Thawri, many of the scholars of death to come to them because of bala they saw. But when death came to them, they hated it. It was difficult for them. However, sometimes in a state of fitna, like you saw Maryam alayhi salam, she made that dua. I also mentioned previously the story of Ismail al-Bukhari. When everyone in the world started talking about Imam Bukhari, he raised up his hands. Allahumma, this world has become smaller. بما رحبت فاقبضني إليك. Take me to yourself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Imam Bukhari on the day of Eid al-Fitr. You are not allowed to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you death to take your life. It is not allowed, except if you are afraid of fitna, you are afraid of your religion. And the third reason, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, وَدِدْتُ أَنْ أَغْسُوَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. I wish I could go fight في سبيل الله فأقتل, so I am killed. وأحيا, then I'm given life. وأقتل, then I'm killed. وأحيا, then I'm given life. وأقتل. He says, the Prophet ﷺ, that he wishes to be a shaheed. He wishes to be a martyr because of the great level or the great daraja that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the shuhada. This is the Prophet ﷺ wishing for death, but a particular type of death, the death that has honor, that has izzah lil Islam wal Muslimin, the death of a shaheed. For the shaheed does not go through the questions of the grave. The shaheed will not be asked, Man Rabbuk, Man Nabiyuk, Ma Dinuk. The shaheed will not feel the sakarat al-maut. The shaheed goes straight to Jannah, bila hisabin wa bila adab. The shaheed is in Jannah until the day of judgment. So the Prophet ﷺ, despite him being the greatest of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he wished to be a shaheed. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he says, سيأتي على الناس سيأتي عليكم زمان لو وجد أحدكم الموت يباع الاشتراء. It will come to the people a day, if death was being sold, they will purchase it. كما قيل وهذا العيش ما لا خير فيه على موت يباع فأشتريه. This life has no worth. I wish there was death that I could purchase. There's an issue here. The Prophet ﷺ says in one hadith, لا يتمنين أحدكم الموت. You should not ever wish for death. In a different hadith, as in this hadith, it tells us that a man will come to a grave and roll over it. Does this hadith of this man going to the grave and wishing for death, does it mean it is sometimes allowed to wish for death? Is it mean it is not haram? It does not reach the level of haram, but it reaches the level of makruh? Have you understood the question? Previously we said a woman is not allowed to travel. But the Prophet ﷺ mentions in the hadith that there is a woman who will travel from Al-Hira in Iraq to Mecca until she makes tawaf, not fearing anyone apart from Allah. We say that does not mean that it's allowed for a woman to travel by herself. That hadith is khabar. It's something that will occur in the future. The same way here is something that is going to occur in the future, that a man will come to a grave and roll on the grave and say, I wish I was the one in this grave. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, يَأْتِي عَلَى النَّاسِ الزَّمَانٌ يَتَمَنَّوْنَ فِيهِ الدَّجَّالِ. Subhanallah. People will come a day where they'll be wishing for the Dajjal to be here. The Masih al-Dajjal. The Masih al-Dajjal will mention later on from the major signs of the day of judgment is the worst fitna, is the worst evil that will ever fall on this earth from the day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens until the day of judgment. But people will wish for the Masih al-Dajjal. He says, قلت يا رسول الله بأبي وأمي مما ذاك. O Prophet of Allah, may my father and my mother be sacrificed for your sake. Why will the people wish for the Masih al-Dajjal? He says, مِمَّا يَلْقَوْنَ مِنَ الْعَنَاءِ وَالْعَنَاءِ. Because of the troubles and the difficulties they get, they'll say, we wish to meet the Masih al-Dajjal. Ikhwani fillah, the greatest ni'mah is being a Muslim. But a greater ni'mah than that is dying upon Islam. And a greater ni'mah on top of that is for Allah to take you in a state that He is pleased with you. You, when you wish, oh Allah, take my life, do you have that guarantee that you shall be taken in a state that Allah is pleased with you? Do you have that guarantee that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take you and you will be able to say La ilaha illallah? You'll be able to say the Tawheed. Do you have that guarantee? Do you have that surety? Then why are you wishing for death? You should wish, oh Allah, grant me a longer life so that I can worship you and go closer and get closer to you. Then a question will come. The previous nations, they used to live, some of them 1,000 plus years. True or false? Some of them used to live 1,500 years. But our Ummah lives for 60 to 70 years maximum. How are we able to compete with those people that they lived a long life? وَحَسُنَ أَعْمَالُهُمْ, and their deeds were good. People at the time of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh alayhi salam, his da'wah was 950 years. How long did he live? We don't know. He lived for a very long time. Adam alayhi salam, Idris, those people lived for very many years. And they did great things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah gave us something else. He gave us Laylatul Qadr. Khayrun min alfi shahr. Every year we have Laylatul Qadr. You pray, you do one good deed. You're given times, how much? Times 10, times 700, or even much more than that. Any good deed you do, you come, you do your wudu, and you pray salah, and the next salah, whatever sins you do in between, you're forgiven. Al-umrah ila al-umrah kafaratun lima baynahuma. If you do one umrah, and the next umrah you do after 5 years, all your sins between those two umrahs are forgiven. Yawm Arafah, if you fast the day of Arafah, you're forgiven the sins of your previous year and upcoming year. Ashura, you are forgiven for 1 year. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of the mercy of this ummah, He made this the greatest ummah in Jannah. 2/3 of the people of Jannah are from the ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And also the people who will be occupying the highest parts of Jannah are from the ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So dear brother, dear sister, never ever ever wish for death because of a difficulty, because of trouble that has befallen you. Wallahi, these days there's some questions you get and you do not know how to answer. Someone tells you, Sheikh, I am tired with life, I want to kill myself. Why? My parents have refused me to get married to this guy because he's from a different tribe. I am tired of life, especially from the sisters. Now how do you start conversation with such a person? And they insisted on killing themselves. So you remind them of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to have hope in Allah, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the best of plans, and whoever kills himself shall be in the hellfire for eternity. Do not do such a thing. You kill yourself with a sikin, with a knife, you shall be stabbing yourself in Jahannam. You'll be throwing yourself if you throw yourself from a building, you'll go to the hellfire and throw yourself. Every single time you throw yourself, you go back up. You throw yourself, you go back up. You take poison, you'll be taking poison for centuries and millennia in Jahannam. Do not reach the level of committing suicide. Do not reach the level of wishing for death. And this is sign number 50. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.